deliver. Now, why are processes important? Well, because the more I can repeat an action, the more profitable I will be on that action. It's like manufacturing. If everything I do and I do as a manufacturer is customized, how much does it cost to do one thing that's custom every time I do it? You'll never get any efficiency in it. But from a manufacturer standpoint, if I can take a process and I can make that process the same over and over and over and over again, what starts to happen? I become more efficient, right? So it's the same thing with a shop. So in my shop, I've got to have a process. So when a customer brings a piece of equipment in, and then ultimately when the customer either picks it up or I deliver it, what's that process? What happens in that process? You guys, I'll be honest with you, you don't have a process. When a customer brings a piece of equipment in, you cross your fingers and you pray you'll be able to find it when they come back. You got to have a process for stuff. Comes in, whoever checks it in is going to check it in. They're going to put a red ribbon on it. If you have a lot of pieces come in, we're going to put a Cal ear tag on it that has a number on it. You know what those ear tags I'm talking about, the big yellow tag? Every piece of equipment's going to have that on it. We're going to put a red ribbon on it. And before the end of the morning, if it came in before 10:30, we will look at it the day that it comes in. So every piece of equipment in our shops is looked at the day that it comes in. Not fixed, but looked at. Looked at. We never wait to look at a customer's equipment until we're ready to work on it. Why? Yeah, because what happens if I get it there and it's been there 2 weeks already and now I finally brought it in to look at it and they're like, oh, it needs this. I wish I'd have known that 2 weeks ago. You had it here 2 weeks ago. Why didn't you do what? Why didn't you look at it then? Okay, so I tell people again, so that's our process. Everything every day is looked at the day it comes in. During season, we actually do it twice a day. We do it at 11 o'clock in the morning, we do it at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Twice a day it's looked at. Once it's looked at, it's washed. Every piece of equipment we look at is washed. Even if it's an estimate, we go ahead and wash it. It's just a part of our process. Even if they're not going to fix it, we still wash it. We don't care. It's part of our process. It's built into the flat rate on what we charge to do estimates and stuff like that with. But that's our process. Same thing in the parts department. Does the parts department have processes? Better have. What's the biggest problem that I have in my parts department? Oh, we got a stocking order in this morning. I go into a parts department, I see all these boxes sitting back there. It's 9:30. I keep tripping over these boxes. I go up to the parts man. I go, what's back there? So, oh, that's our stocking order. And I go, what are you going to do with it? He says, well, I'm going to get to it as soon as I can. I go, time out. What's your highest priority as a parts man? What's the highest, most important thing you can do in the morning? You got to do what? Why? Well, not so much what you sell, but what am I waiting for in my shop? Probably something in that box, right? I tell you again, so that's your number one priority. What's your next highest priority in your parts department? Inventory control, right? Making sure that your stuff's in the right place. How many people in here are doing rolling inventories? Or do you inventory once a year and hope? In my parts departments, we do rolling inventory. So we run a fast-moving parts report, and we look at how fast parts turn, and we have some parts that we inventory every 90 days. But we never do a complete inventory at one time during the year. So our inventory is constantly being done, so I never have to stop anything and do a complete inventory. But at the end of the year, everything in my parts department will be inventoried at least one time, and all the fast-moving stuff will be inventoried 4 times. Why do I inventory fast-moving stuff more often? Because where does my shrinkage typically happen at? It's not on the spindle for the Craftsman mower that we sell one a year for. Okay, that's not my problem. Where do I have shrinkage at in my parts department if I have it? Belts, plugs, and filters. What are your fastest moving items? And if it's not stolen, that you got guys sneaking into your parts department, pulling stuff out, taking it out, and they forget to write it down. That's exactly what happens. So we inventory that stuff on a regular basis. It's absolutely no reason that if I have a machine that needs 3 blades to make it operate, there's never a time in your parts department that we should only have 2. Never, ever, ever. Because you may have somebody that walks across the counter and buys 1 blade, but 90% of the time in my service departments, if we're putting on blades, we don't put on 1, we're doing what? And there's nothing that infuriates me more than I need a set of blades for a piece of equipment, and you go, well, we only have 2. How could that happen? It happens because you don't have a what? You don't have a process. You didn't use your system to do your mins and maxes. And what should your minimums be on blades that are where there are 3 required? What should your minimum number always be to have in stock? 5. 5. I always have a full set of 3, and I've got 2 for what? Counter demand. 5 is the minimum that should always have. And the moment it gets to 5, then you better be doing what? ordering back again. Because again, you're stopping me in my shop, and my shop is all about efficiency. So again, so we measure, we look at those things. We look at what our transaction time is, and I'm going to get into this stuff later, but transaction is a process. Anybody know what transaction is? Your transaction time? Transaction time is the time that it takes from the moment a customer comes to the counter to the moment the customer leaves with a part. Okay, so we measure that time. The average dealership we're in, it takes a little over 7 minutes when we start, and when we're done, we're doing it in a little under 4 minutes. Now what would happen if you reduced the time it took you to wait on customers at the parts counter by 3 minutes for every customer? When there's 12 in line, what does that do for the last customer in line? Think about it. And so we're going to talk about how to reduce that transaction time, but the first thing you got to do is measure it. You got to know where it is. You got to know where it is. So process. How does McDonald's have 30,000+ stores across the world? How do they do that? Because everything in a McDonald's is a what? How fast can they teach somebody how to cook French fries at a McDonald's? They go, look, Drew, you're our fry cook today. I know you've never done it before, but here's how it works. You're going to go and find this big silver box that's cold on the outside. It's called a freezer. Even if you can't read, you can feel it. Just put your hand on it, it'll be chilly. Okay? You're going to open the door, and inside the door you're going to see a big brown bag. And on that bag it says French fries, but there's also a picture of a what? So if you can't read, Drew, guess what? Look at the picture. It'll look like a what? A French fry. Now, as you're doing that, you're going to notice a whiff of hot burning oil in this place. We call that a cooker. Okay, you're going to take that bag and you're going to go over to the cooker, and you're going to see there are 3 stainless steel baskets there. You're going to dump that bag and you're going to empty it in those 3 baskets evenly. And you're going to put those baskets in the hot burning oil, and then you're going to push a big red button on the side of that cooker, and you're done. But what's going to happen next is going to be something that's going to amaze and startle you, because in about a minute and a half, you're going to hear a noise that God himself is not going to want to listen to. You're going to hear this buzzing sound that your customers at the counter will ask you just to go turn on. That means the fries are done. You'll need to go over, push the button, take the fries out, dump them in a pan, season them with just the shaker. Everything's already been up there, and now you're my fry cook. So how quickly could I teach somebody to cook fries? How many people in here feel like, as a business owner, you could do what I just explained? Okay, so because there's a process to cooking fries, there's a process to cooking hamburgers, there's a process to cooking eggs. Everything in a McDonald's is a process, and why do they do that? Because what's your biggest challenge you have? Finding good, qualified people. Would you agree? Okay, so let's go back to you again. Same thing in the shop. How many good parts people, how many good service people, how many A-level techs do you want in your shop? You need just one. I tell all my guys, that's the other thing in my shops. You guys get all caught up, and I've got to have the best technician. I say, no, you don't. And outdoor power, 70 to 75% of the work that you do in your shop could be done with a B-level technician. 70 to 75% of the work is literally, I unbolt this, I rebolt this back onto this place. My grandmother could do 75% of the work in your shop. She would be slow, but she could do it. 25% of the work in your shop requires an A-level technician that's good at what? Electrical and mechanical diagnostics. Would you agree? I got to have one, but I don't need 2.